Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PWC, and we start this week off with an interview on Backstage made by Joseph himself to Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Apparently, these two are back together. They have a big history since WWE's times, and last week we saw Kurt Hawkins coming down the aisle to save Zack Ryder. So now let's hear what they got to say on Backstage. Well, apparently, gentlemen, I don't know what happened last week, but for sure, fans are speculating that you two are back together on track. Is that a reality? Well, Joseph, things come and go, you see, and sooner or later, sometimes people decide to make a reunion, even though it can be temporarily. Because let's face the fact, we don't know how many time this team will last again. Perhaps one day we woke up out of our beds and say, well, now we have to follow our singles path career again. No tag titles to fight for anymore. But since we are here in PWC, and since my friend Kurt decided to help me out last week, now this is the time for us to try and win this time around the PWC World Tag Team titles. The Cult have retained those titles over and over again for months in a row. But you see, this team right here, this is not that. We have a backup history since WWE's time, and we're gonna take the opportunity to challenge those bastards at Spring Fever. Those PWC World Tag titles are coming to us. We have won tag team titles all over the place. This time around, it is time for us to try things out here in PWC. And I leave you with this statement. Kurt and Zack, hashtag the next PWC Tag Team Champions. Alright, back to you, gentlemen. Wow, so Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder apparently are back together. We had another Fallout interview on Backstage made by Joseph. But this time around, let's see that interview didn't even start. Joseph was in the back looking for Su Yung, who came to PWC last week to make a stare down with Lilith. What a bizarre stare down that was. For a future, perhaps a future Ladies Championship match. But this is what we've got. Su Yung was there in the corner, looking ahead on Backstage, while Joseph tried to approach her for an interview. She didn't say a damn thing. Well, there she is, as you can see. That's Su Yung, but Joseph has quit on trying to make an interview with her because she simply didn't reply back. Well, the fact of the matter is, Su Yung will face Lilith for the PWC Ladies Championship at Spring Fever after what happened last week. Let's move ahead with the show. Well, now it is time for the first PWC confrontation moment of the week. It was another match on the tournament to determine the very first PWC Ladies World Tag Team Champions at Spring Fever. Last week, we had a Flame, the first very match of this tournament. This time around, it was time for the second match of that tournament. It was the team of Toni Storm and Paige. Yes, Tyson Kidd is bringing teams of ladies from all over the place, from other companies as well, including AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, and GPW, WWE, etc., etc. So this second match was Toni Storm and Paige facing Lilith and Abaddon from the Cult. Well, and we can say that Lilith and Abaddon have defeated Toni Storm and Paige. But here is the thing, here is the trick. So imagine Lilith and Abaddon if they get to the finals of this tournament, they're gonna have to fight for the vacant PWC World Tag Team Ladies belts at Spring Fever. But Lilith already has a match at Spring Fever against Su Yung for the Ladies Championship. So this means that if Lilith and Abaddon get to the finals, Lilith has to fight twice in the same night. Will she get to the finals of this tournament alongside with Abaddon? Well, only time will tell. We're gonna have to wait. Let's move forward. Then we had another interview on the back. Joseph was interviewing Ronda Rousey about what happened last week with Shafir. Now let's hear what she got to say on the back. Now Rousey, last week it feels like your supposed friendship with Shafir didn't end so well, cause I know Jess, okay? I know, just wait. Let me calm down for a minute. I know, Joseph. My friendship with Shafir may be over. She got into a new pet. She got into a new attitude, a new gimmick. She totally snapped last week. She's just spewing all of what we shared in the last couple of years behind her back, only to follow an egomaniac path. I know, I've been there before. I'm not judging her. But you see, now this thing has got so much more serious because I've done everything for that girl. I even helped her out on progressing on her career, and this is how she treats me? I know she's been through problems, but hell, all of us have been there before. I didn't do anything wrong to her, despite she thinks I've done something to her. She thinks that I have, at some point in time, screwed her career or made her career turn down for a while. But in fact, it was me who was there all along helping her out. But she didn't value that, and for that, she's gonna pay for it. You see, I don't like those kind of people that don't appreciate when they receive help from the others. Those kind of people, they are narcissists, and it seems like Shafir is just like all of them. But I'll leave you with this, Joseph. I don't know what the future awaits for Shafir and Rousey. Perhaps a match. Tyson Kidd hasn't talked to me yet. But what I know is this. Shafir, you should never bite the hand that feeds you. I teached you a lot about this business, and this is how you treat me back. I can say that if Tyson Kidd books a match or not, I'm coming after you despite of it. So be ready, Shafir, be ready. Because you're not gonna get away from this in advantage. You're gonna pay hard for it. Much harder than you thought, girl. Alright, let's move ahead with this incredible show. Now we have Elias on a match against Moises. Look at that, Ezekiel is coming down the aisle to distract Elias as a form of payback for what Elias did to his younger brother last week. He's distracting him. Roll up pinfall by Moises. Moises has defeated Elias thanks to Ezekiel's distraction. Ezekiel is laughing at his brother. Now after this, Elias is running after Ezekiel to the back. Ezekiel has disappeared on backstage, but Joseph is there with Elias. What's going on, Elias? What's going on? What's going on? Ezekiel cost me my match against that scumbag Moises. That's what's going on. Well, I don't mean to treat you mad, but the fact is, Elias, it is all your fault. Last week, you turned on him. So what were you expecting? Were you expecting him to calm down his horses? Joseph, I know what I did, and I already explained it to you last week. But Ezekiel, I think he's getting a lot out of what he actually can handle. Does he can handle me? He's a youngster compared to me. I brought him to this place. Do you think he can handle me as easily as he thinks? He's crossing the line. He's like a student crossing the line over a teacher. But you see, as you know, Joseph, I challenged him last week for a spring fever match, which leads me to the conclusion that this Ezekiel will not get any more recognition after I beat his ass at spring fever. Because his contract on PWC, that's all on me. Which means, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be here. So after I beat his ass at spring fever, I can assure you this, Joseph, he's going back home. No job for him. No job. And now it is time for one more PWC moment of the week. And now we have here a PWC World Title #1 contendership match. It is Chapas Joao Silva against Shlek. And at the end of the match, well, we saw Bill Goldberg at the entrance stage watching this. And Chapas Joao Silva has defeated Shlek. Chapas Joao Silva will face Goldberg at Spring Fever for the world title. Goldberg coming down the aisle. This is not gonna end well here tonight. What a stare down here between these two. Security are coming down here. Goldberg tried to raise his title above his head on the face of Chapas with no effect. Securities are holding Chapas back for this not to go further.